Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome back to PSA TV. In studio here with us this morning, she's the founder of the Widow Support TT, Miss Soraya Nanan. Good morning, Soraya. How are you?
Good morning, Avalon, and good morning to your viewing audience.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I love my butterfly.
Yes, yes. We have butterflies on this morning.
I know, but yours is a different shape to my own.
Yeah, but the butterfly is something we launched. We had an event on Saturday.
Okay.
It was called You Have the Power to Transform. It was our second grief counseling session. And what we did on that day, we launched our butterfly. We see our butterfly as a symbol of change and hope. Is a very powerful representation of life. So we had these brooches on sale, and we actually had such a great response. I had people up there yesterday calling me, telling me they want to come to my office. I'm an attorney at law, so I have an office both in San Fernando and Rio Claro. So one of the ladies called and she said she wanted to come to my office to collect one of the, well, actually 2 butterflies she wanted
this
to.
Is so cute.
Yeah.
So, right, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself, when you started this foundation and all of that.
Well, I'm a widow. My husband died. I was 34 years at the time. He was 35. He died of leukemia. And what happened is after that, in 2009, I died and I had a 1-year-old. My daughter was 1 year old. So I guess going through my journey, looking at people out there, looking and trying to figure out, well, how do I navigate through my grief? I really had no books, no pamphlets. I had nothing to turn to. So for me, just as like I tell people, I'm on this, what is called a grief journey.
Right.
And as I continue along my grief journey, I just saw the need to have a support group because just like I had nobody to turn to, actually there was one lady at my husband's funeral. He was cremated, and during the cremation she came up and spoke to me, and she had an 18-year-old daughter with her, and she was telling me about her life story. Or when her husband died, the husband went into the hospital, he started to feel pains, and that same day he ended up dying, and she was left with a young daughter at the time, and she had to go and plant rice in the rice fields. And somehow that story stayed in my mind. I said, I always remembered her. Every time like I'm going through my journey and I'm feeling like the depths of despair, I always remember this lady's story telling me how, she got through what she went through. She told me her daughter, she actually brought the daughter to the funeral. The daughter was 18 years at the time and she was a teacher. So, I guess that kind of somehow, caused me to have this support group. Just like I heard this lady's story and it gave me some sense of solace and some sense of strength, I told myself, maybe having a support group, people would hear my story, because my story is not from a textbook. I didn't read about this.
Real.
This is my real life story. When I talk, and I have been on interviews, and every time people hear my interview, they would call me. The last time I was on, last year, a lady called me, even up to this year when I was on interviews, because I had to be on interviews to showcase and to advertise the event. And people be calling me and they be crying and just like they just need somebody to connect with. And I don't only hear from people who have been going through grief. The last week, a guy, he called me, his wife left him, and he was feeling very down and depressed. So somehow
you literally got calls from
anybody and everybody.
Males as well?
Males as well. We had a widower who was interested in attending the event, because what we had at that event was not only a talk by Dr. Crystal Jane Verasamy, she's a counseling psychologist. We also had a spa day where we had women our members being pampered with facial massages, hairdos. Nice. My nails were done on that day, so it was really nice, and it was all free. So a lot of people showed interest in it, and they came out, and men showed interest as well. So I mean, this group somehow, and even on the day of the event, there was a girl who came up to me and she told me that she recently suffered a breakup, and she was engaged to be married, and she was really down, and she was actually feeling suicidal. And I was glad that she came, because somehow she saw, even though this is Widow Support TT, she saw there was something in our group that she could have connected with, and it caused her to get up and come to the event. And it's difficult for people to even get up in the morning, go to work, do your daily chores when you're going through a lot of grief, loss, pain, depression. But I was glad that she came out, and she seemed very, after the event, everybody was smiling. Everybody came sad, and at the end of the day, everybody was smiling. So that, in a way, showed that the event was a success.
How do you cope with women, who wants to commit suicide and stuff? What do you?
The difficulties, I mean, I could only talk about what I am not, like I tell people, I'm not a grief counselor, I'm a grief survivor. So the most I could do, I mean, I actually would refer them to maybe like a counseling psychologist that we have, Dr. Crystal Jane Verasamy, or maybe I would tell them to call 274-TALK, that is the suicide hotline. But if somebody reaches out to me, of course I would listen to them. Of course I will, you know, hear their story and say, well, you know, yes, that is fine. I've gone through the same thing too. So in doing that, like I said, I'm limited in, like, I don't have the expertise, but I have the experience. So I could share my experiences with them and hopefully get them through what they're going through.
And this foundation is done in how many years now?
Well, my husband died in 2009, so it started in 2011. So when it started, it started off first called the Nanan Foundation, because my husband was Nanan. And when it started, we were actually trying to, he died of leukemia, so we were trying to set up what is called a bone marrow bank so that people with our genetic makeup, we in Trinidad, we are very unique because we have all these different genetic makeups. We don't have just one race, we have this mixture of races in most of us. And the difficulty with him, he was not able to get a donor because of his genetic makeup. So I tried to set up a bone marrow transplant bank, but that has been shelved because the need of the members is really for some type of support financially, emotionally, mentally. So what we have been doing since 2011 is actually we changed the name to Widow Support TT, and we have been having these grief counseling sessions. We have assisted with widows financially. We're doing things that I think are practical for women. A lot of people live alone, and what we want to set up is a data bank for people to get workers, because sometimes as a woman living alone, especially crime situation, you know, you have somebody who you need to get a plumber. So for me, my experience is my husband would have done everything for me, even take my car to service. And we get a lot of problems, you know, as women, to, you know, you're fearful to bring somebody into your home to, you know, like a plumber or electrician. So what we do is we're trying to set up a bank to have safe and secure and affordable people, you know, who could provide these services for women. So that's what we're doing right now. And of course, we after the event, a lot of people weren't aware of our event, because not everybody on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is what our social pages. So what we're trying to do is set up a WhatsApp group. So I'll post it up on the Facebook page and the other social media pages. So anybody want to just join our group or be on this WhatsApp group, which I think is more personal, more interactive, they could send their number and we'll be able to do that.
In terms of these widows as well, do they also, you know, open up the fact that, you know, some of them may not have jobs and stuff like that? Do you get testimonies?
There are people who have contacted me and I've tried to assist them in terms of getting a job for them. There are. I mean, like I say, as a widow, yeah, like being a widow, it changes your status, because a lot of women, their husbands were the breadwinners, and now they have to change and they come. They have to deal with not only grief, you have this new role as being the breadwinner in the family. Some of them haven't worked a day in their lives. Not all women have children to take care of them. There are actually 40% of widows who are under the age of 40 who have elderly parents to take care of, as well as young children. So the difficulty is there are a lot of women out there who really want, you know, that, you know, to get a job. So we actually have things in train which we want to do in terms of empowering women, but for now we assist them financially. And anybody actually who has contacted me and was seeking a job, we have tried to find jobs for them as well.
Right.
You know, so it really depends on what comes on our plate. We try to find a solution. That's what we do.
So are you all, this foundation, do you get like, you know, sponsors and stuff
well,
like that?
Well, at the event that we had this year, we contacted Bright Ideas. Actually, Bright Ideas sponsored. We had Das Funeral Home sponsoring the event, Nestle, and Blue Mountain Waters. Because what we were doing, we were offering food and drinks on the day. So we had sponsors, which was helpful. And we said, you know, and then this, of course, is going to be something we wanted, you know, we're selling our brooches.
I love my brooch.
Yes, we're selling our brooches. So this also will go towards, you know, a fundraising activity as well.
Right.
Yes.
Soraya, how do you balance, you know, being an attorney and, you know, you having to push this foundation as well?
I guess, I mean, for me, well, I have people supporting me. I mean, I have, you know, we have other support groups as well. There's a group in Princeton, wow. They have, you know, sometimes we have events that, you know, they assist us, we assist them. I have, you know, other people around me who support me, and, you know, other people who, widows as well as me, and other people who are not even widows, who we have the support from. But it is difficult sometimes, especially this last year that went my daughter Ruth SC, and that was a very difficult time for me because I had to deal with my practice, because I do attend court. You know, I don't only sit down in office, I go to court. You know, I have to deal with her, dropping her pick up from lessons. And I mean, during that time, sometimes I feel like, wow, I wish I had another person there assisting me. It's hard as a solo parent. I call myself a solo parent because we have nobody. We have no ex that we could say, well, okay, you could pick up the kid today. I have nobody. It's just me and me alone. So, and I'm very careful as to who I let my daughter go with. So most of the times it's either me or my driver from the office. They will do it. But, you know, it's just, it's difficult for me. I mean, it has been difficult, and, you know, it's just as time goes by, I'm glad SC is over, and, you know, it's just, I take it, now I tell people, I say take it one day at a time. There are times when you feel very down and very depressed, but, you know, just tell yourself, listen, I'm just going to get through today. Don't think about too much in the future. I try not to get myself overwhelmed. If I think about me, my life, I know I'm an only parent. If something happened to me, what's going to happen to my daughter, I will get overwhelmed. So I don't think about that, because that is just going to get me in such a state of panic and depression. I don't think about it. I just say, listen, today is the 30th of August. I want to get through today, and tomorrow we'll deal with tomorrow.
What was the reason behind the blue, though, choosing blue for the butterfly?
I just like the color blue, but this is my husband's favorite color. Okay, that was my husband's favorite color. So I just found it was, in a way, it was to celebrate him because his favorite color was blue.
Yeah, you know, we ended up with choosing a pink or purple.
No, I guess maybe because his favorite color was blue. So even though we changed the name from Lincoln Nanan Foundation, I still keep some memory of him in the Widow Support TT by the color blue that we chose for the butterflies.
And the shape and everything, does that have a
It doesn't really actually. What we have is different sizes, and what we got from the butterflies, we got different shapes. Like yours is more rounded, mine have a little tail at the end. No problem, I can give you mine. So we have different shapes, but they have different sizes. I have small ones, really small ones. We actually had a baby attended the event, and she had a really small one. Then we have bigger ones. I still call them smaller. So I call them really small, tiny. We have small, medium, and large. We have the medium, and they have larger as well, and then they have small.
So there is no meaning behind the tail, because your tail is long.
No. It's just like I say, the butterfly is just a symbol of change and hope, and we just wanted to tell, you know, our women that listen. Our motto is we heal and grieve together. But what I wanted to tell women, I told women on the day, I said it is our hope that there's change in everybody. You know, let's not remain the same way. And I mean, transformation is good. You know, it's always good to change, to transform. I've learned a lot. I mean, the person I was 10 years ago is different than the person I was today. When my husband just died, I didn't want to brush my teeth, I didn't want to bathe, I didn't want to come off the bed. I was driving, I was confused, I didn't know where I was going. And that is what happens when you're going through grief.
How long did it take you to bounce back, to get back to yourself?
Work helped me. Work helped me. You wouldn't believe how being busy helped me, because if I had stayed home, I mean, thank God, I was lucky. At that time, I didn't see it as being lucky. But thank God I was lucky that I had my own practice. So that forced me, and I was working for myself. If I didn't work, I wouldn't get paid. So that forced me to get up, and I thought about my daughter, you know, I have to take care of her now. So I just forced myself to get up and get out there. And as I got up, get out there. It was difficult. I mean, he was also an attorney, so the first day, besides the driving, when I went to work, I opened a file and I saw his signature on it, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's not around anymore. Those things were hard. I've been through a lot. I mean, normally when he had leukemia, he was doing his treatment in New York. And what would happen is we had a routine where after I finish, you know, from court, I would call him when I'm walking up the hill by Irving Street in San Fernando. My office is on Irving Street. And that day after he died, a little while after, actually, I had a court matter. And I couldn't help it. Even though I knew he wasn't around, and I could never see him or talk to him, I took out my phone and I was talking to him, because I couldn't deal with him not being around. Just to deal with that is a difficult thing. You know, like there are 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, depression, there's bargaining, and there's acceptance. So I was at the stage of denial. I did not want to accept the fact that he died. So I was just on the phone talking to him, you know, as though we were having a conversation. So walk up that hill, and not having him to talk to was a difficult thing.
But I mean, in terms of your husband passing away and stuff like that, for every woman out there, isn't it, you know, crucial to have that support from family members? So
It is, and you
have that?
see, this is why I formed the Widow Support TT, because even though you have family members, everybody puts a timeline on grief. So everybody thinks you need to get over it. A month after he died, a year after he died, it's like it's time to get over it. I mean, when I had the 1 year anniversary for my husband, I had a close relative tell me, but he died a year ago. Like, why are you having that? You know, so people don't understand what you're going through. Like I tell people, there is no timeline, there's no time limit, you know, to stop grieving. I think what time gives us is, and if people say time heals all wounds, I say that's a fallacy. What time gives us is the skills to cope with the grief. Like I said, 10 years ago, I was a mess. But as time went by, and I'm learning every day, as time went by, I was able to, 10 years after, to talk. Actually, the fact I'm talking about it, like I say, when you talk about your story, you can unlock someone's prison. But just talking about it opens up wounds. Not everybody could talk about their story. I tell people, talk about it when you're ready. And the fact that I'm talking about it shows that there's some healing on my part. Because other than that, if I had to talk about it a year ago, 10 years ago, I would have been in tears. I would have been, you know, just crying and crying and crying. So it is difficult, you know, to go through what anybody's going through. And I tell people, our group is not for people going through grief. Any type of loss, any type of pain, any type of, you know, anything causing you some sort of sadness, you could reach out to us. You know, we have a number 3091983. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, like I said, we want to launch a WhatsApp group to make it more intimate, because a lot of women would call me, and a lady called me this week and she said, you know, it's so difficult for her. She can't get up in the morning and she don't know what to do, and her husband died last year. So I told her about the WhatsApp group. I said, you know, sometimes it'd be nice on the WhatsApp group, you wake up in the morning and you type that, and you will have people around you who will reach out to you and say something supportive and something positive that can help you get through the day.
I want to thank you so much, because I know we have a tight program this morning.
I know. There's a lot going on.
If you could just probably, you know, leave something positive for all the widows out there.
Well, I mean, all I could tell, I mean, what I tell myself every day is, you know, life gives you experiences for you to learn from. And as much as I hated what life gave me, I tried to make the best of it. And looking back on it, you know, like I told people, I said, I wish my husband was still alive. I mean, there's so many things I wish. We all want a happy ending. And unfortunately, life doesn't give you a happy ending. And just make the best. And it might sound very superficial what I'm saying, but you know, this is what helped me. Make the best of what life gave you. We all want that perfect ending, but unfortunately, life is so unexpected that it doesn't happen that way. So what I did, I didn't beat up myself over it. I mean, there were times when I believe in God, and there were times when I was just angry with God and say, why did you take away my husband? Because I pray all the time. But what I did was, I just eventually found acceptance. I accepted what happened to me, and I just used my experiences to now share with other people, and hopefully, you know, help others who are going through what I'm going through.
Thank you so much, Soraya.
Thank you for having me, Avalon. It was a pleasure.
So we're going to toss that break, and I just want to thank Soraya Nanan. She's the founder of the Widow Support TT here in Trinidad and Tobago. So you can always reach out to her. She has provided her information where she can be reached. So we're going to toss a short break and turn to news as well, and come back to the program. Thanks so much.